Confession of One Secrets, part number 3. When I was a kid, I found a dead baby in a box. Told my mum and she immediately noped out. I used to live in remote far north Queensland. My mum is one of 5 children. My uncle had 2 children. My cousins, who were the same age as me. Often on school holidays, my mum would drive us downstate to visit her brother and my cousins. This is about a 10-hour trip with big stretches of road without civilization or reception around. Like 2 to 3 hour gaps between some towns. No services stations. We literally got taught survival skills and first aid with regular refreshers in primary school, because resources in those areas were so ass that you had to be flown out, Royal Flying Doctors Services, to the nearest city, if there was any major accidents. To give birth, people would go downstate. I was about 10 years old and we were taking the big trip. Often Mum would stop to smoke and walk around every few hours. On one of these breaks, I went walking around picking up sticks, looking at things, e.g. I once found a soft drink can from the 1980s. I went into a clearing when I found a box. I opened the box and there was a garbage bag with clear plastic and a small blanket or cloth inside. I knew something was rotten in there, yet I would see roadkill all the time. Or we would check wallabies with their heads split open for joeys, so it didn't faze me. I decided to get a stick and rip the bag open. Plus poke around. Out of the cloth fell out a tiny little hand. At the time I didn't understand what it was. So I told my mum. My mum was annoyed because she was trying to smoke, but she came over and had a look. Immediately, she got us back into the car and drove away. I don't know why she did this, because it would have made no impact to her life if she just told the police. Instead, she did her typical over-the-top reaction and being ridiculous. She told me not to tell anyone and got all worried. I kept asking her why. And why is she acting like this? Then she got mad at me. Naturally, I told my relatives when I saw them, so my mother just started saying it was a doll. I said, "Dolls don't rot." Then it was dismissed as me making things up, except with my mother's reaction. I know it was a baby. I also remember the shape and the small little hand. Whoever put it there tried to layer it haphazardly with cloth and plastic, then put it in a garbage bag, into the box. IDK why they didn't bury it, why they put it there, or what happened. I've been paying a college student for sex. I'm in my early 30s and in college many years ago. I used to be really active in a student group. We had an alumni event early last year, and I met some of the students that are currently in it. I offered my contact information if anyone ever needed a mentor or needed help with anything. Long story short, one of the students reached out to me for advice on an internship they were applying to that I previously had. She ended up getting it, and we spoke about it more over lunch. She mentioned the move to the internship would put her in debt for a while, and jokingly said she wished she had a sugar daddy to help. I jokingly said, I'd love to be her sugar daddy. We both laughed it off and I didn't think much of it. She sent me a very provocative photo a few days later and mentioned wanting me to be her sugar daddy. Turns out she had a kink for older guys. Besides the joke, I never gave indication I'd be into any of this. In trying to gauge the seriousness of all this, we realized we had a mutual attraction to one another. She bluntly asked me for financial help, and in return she was interested in being friends with benefits. I've been giving her money on a weekly basis and have been banging once a week. It has become some of the best sex I have ever had. She says she enjoys the consistency and financial help. My wife has money problems, and I'm going to divorce her because of it. When I married my wife, she was 25 at the time and had never worked. She is from Brazil, and we met as teens. Her family has money, and she was going to college at the time. She got a job at 25, so she could get a visa to the US, and we got married. So I thought her mentality would change as she grew more mature. In the last 10 years, it has been up and down with work. She has never really held a full-time job in the US, but for a while, she was averaging, say, 30 hours a week. And she did a lot of cooking and stuff in the house, so I was fine with it, thinking it would change with time. During COVID, she started doing online selling and reduced her hours at work so she could focus on her business. I lent her a couple grand because even though she wasn't making a ton of money out of it, this was the first time I saw her putting real effort into anything money-related. And I thought maybe this would be the time she'd put it together. But during this time, there would always be times when she would put me financially at risk with rent and stuff, not paying groceries, etc. Eventually, the sales started dwindling, and her grandmother in Brazil got sick. She never picked up her hours at TJ Maxx and was averaging like 10 hours a week. She went to Brazil 4 times in the last couple years for 2 to 4 weeks at a time. I told her by the 3rd trip it would be prudent if she picked up more hours at work so she could save money, and it wouldn't be a burden in our household. I didn't want to put money between her seeing her grandma dying, but it wasn't fair to go to Brazil and leave me 1 to 2 months worth of rent on me at a time. This last time she went, I told her when she came back, if she didn't pick up her end of the bargain, that would be it for us. Same story. She listened, she said I was right, and she'd pick it up. Nope. February, she's going to see her grandma again, and when she comes back, she is going to New York with her best friend, who is married to a dude in Brazil, so I know there's nothing there, and is going to take a whole fucking month off from work. In 2019, she went to Comic-Con in New York, and that fucking trip still hasn't been paid off. It's still on her goddamn credit card. I feel so stupid. I'm coming to terms with something I already have known for years. She is never gonna get it. I really don't think there's any malice to it. She just doesn't want to fucking work. I'll never be able to buy a house with this girl. She is 36 years old and acts like she is 18. So, yeah, I'm gonna get a divorce. I had an affair with my boss's wife for several months. I, 26M, was a first-year teacher a few years ago. I taught an AP History Language Arts block, and I was partnered with the principal's wife as my partner teacher. Over the course of our first semester together, she began to vent more and more to me about her life at home and the state of her marriage. She clearly started to lean on me as a source to vent to about her life, and I think we just got too comfortable with each other. It was an emotional affair for months before anything specific happened, but one day we were working late grading essays. She started crying, broke down saying she wanted out of her marriage, and we had sex in our classroom. Then we had sex in our classroom, my car, her car, my apartment, etc. pretty much every day for months. Our entire life became a planning cycle of where and when we could fuck next. I fucked her in their bed about 6 months in, when he was at a conference and their kids were out of town. And that was my breaking point, and realized I had to stop this. It was the craziest 6 months of my life, caught in a lie that I had no idea how to get out of. I actually had to quit that job and move to another town to fully extract myself from it. To this day, they are still married, and I watch her social media posts just waiting for her to announce her divorce. I wonder if that experience actually broke me entirely for good, because a few years later I'm still not over it. I wear a ring to pretend I'm engaged. I am not engaged. I work in sales and find many men think I'm interested. When I'm not, I'm being friendly because that is my job. I'm also very talkative and work in a predominantly male industry. I don't care if you are a man or woman, we're human. I love socializing. Some take it as me flirting. I am not. I have had a half-naked man post Google reviews trying to thirst trap me. Everyone saw it and laughed. I laughed too. But it's embarrassing. Men buying me weird things and surprising me at work with lunch, trying to connect with me on social media. I'm tired of it. So I started wearing a fake engagement ring, and customers comment on it all the time now. I've had men's wives who don't like me because I'm a woman talking to her husband, making it obvious they are intimidated. Since I've started wearing the ring, it's been great. Their wives compliment it a lot and ask me about my engagement. Almost within 10 minutes of meeting me, men have been less forward. I tell them I am recently engaged and taking it slow when they ask for the deets. I am not engaged. But the ring is going to stay. I feel like a con sometimes when I have to lie about the engagement. 10/10, it's been life-changing. This is my confession. My secret plan to show up the bride. 4 years ago, I was in the ER alone on Christmas Eve. I was contacted by a friend who told me that the man I was going out with was simultaneously seeing my sister behind my back. Before this, my sister was like a best friend to me. It tore our relationship apart, and even changed our family dynamics, as you could imagine. Their wedding is coming up in a few months now. Time heals some wounds, but the scars still show cheesy. But it's true. Because of all this, I am determined to show up my sister on her wedding day, even if it's just a little bit. She's been saying for so long that she's gonna get in shape for her big day, but continues to eat out and lay in bed while binging Netflix. I've been practicing a healthy lifestyle for years now, but especially with the wedding coming up, I need to look physically better than her. So I've been putting in the work to do it. Early morning runs, passing up on holiday treats, reaching for the veggies instead of chips. I've told only my best friend, dark roommate, of my plan, and I've already gotten the "have you lost weight?" questions from people. Part of me feels guilty for wanting this for myself, but at the same time, it's just a little internal game I've created in my mind. It's really because of all that has happened to me emotionally in the past 4 years, and because many people I haven't seen in years will be there, too. I'm not sure if this is malicious intent on my part or not, because I'm not exactly doing anything to ruin her day. I just know the people who will be there will take note of how I look, and I'm very excited for it. I had embarrassing accident at work. This happened some years ago, and I share it because I want to tell that story, but I would be too embarrassed to do it while not being anonymous. I was an intern, 19F, and still in school doing my internship. As money was tight, I usually ate leftovers from home from previous day, and now everyone knows where that story will go. I was on my desk, funny feeling in my belly, and suddenly I feel sharp pain in my belly. I try to ignore it, but it feels unusual. Not period pain. And sometime later, I feel sharp pain in my butt, feeling like you really need to fart, but the fart will be liquid. So I jump up, for some reason grabbed my phone and carefully make my way to bathroom while clenching as hard as I can, feeling that I am going to lose the battle. The pain is horrible, and as soon I close the bathroom door and try to raise my dress to access my panties, I loose the fight and I feel liquid shit leaving my body. Shit on my panties, dress and floor. I sit down on toilet and stay there, feeling like continuous explosion while thinking to myself, what the bad word I am going to do now? I think I spent like over an hour in the bathroom, cleaning the room up with my dress and washing it in the sink. Lucky for me, that office had private unisex bathrooms, so I was washing my panties and dress, wearing only bra and shoes. I tried to dry the dress with toilet paper, but it started to break down, and dress was full of white toilet paper junks. I was seriously considering just being there until everyone went home and looked my dress dry. My phone rings, and it is my internship supervisor, a guy in his 30s, calm and nice guy. Hey, you wanted to see how we are doing whatever thing on this project? And I replied quietly, I am at bathroom, I had accident and no spare clothes. And dude just replied, oh, okay, I bring you some. And ended the call. I was totally confused. What is he bringing? Is he some kind of psychic? What will he bring? Not even a minute went by and he knocked on the door and said, I leave the paper bag behind door, and left. There was 2 bathrooms, it was obvious I was in one that is locked. I slowly opened bathroom door. Nobody around. And take the bag, holy cow. Dude must have experienced some sort of accident himself, as there was whole set of clothes. Socks, jeans, belt, boxers, t-shirt, and buttoned shirt with long sleeves and everything brand new. Who does have set of clothes at office for no reason? Well, I should have... Well, it is what it is. Suddenly, I was dressed like him, wearing his boxers, jeans that I had to roll up a lot and belt in the smallest position, giant t-shirt under, buttoned shirt with rolled up sleeves. I looked like one of the lesbian girls who dresses like a boy. No disrespect. Suddenly new problem. People are going to ask questions. I was thinking and thinking, slowly walked back into office and wondering, what if they don't notice? And like 5 seconds later, one lady asks, why are you dressed like your internship manager? I am out of words, thinking, what I'm gonna say? And my internship manager starts to laugh, while I feel my heart racing. You see, she told me that I dress like her boyfriend, and I made a bet that if he will dress like me to work, I will buy everyone a pizza. I guess I own everyone a pizza. I was standing there and thinking, damn, that guy is a genius. We had the pizza next day. It turned out to be his birthday, and I washed his clothes and got them back to him. We never talked about it. He never asked any questions. The guy was a legend. I was so thankful for him. And yet, I am way too embarrassed to ever talk about it openly. Thank you, my internship manager from my first internship. You are a legend. I cut contact with a mute girl who only talked to me. At my school, there was a mute girl. She was allowed to wear headphones at all times and never spoke to a single person for the entirety of high school. We went to the same college. If you're not from the UK, college here isn't the same. She was the only person from my school that attended this college with me, and she spoke to me and only me. She would come and sit next to me all the time. She would only whisper short to the point replies, and her voice was very deep and strange. I soon realized that I was the only person outside of her home that she spoke to. It felt really special to me, and I feel in love with her very quickly. But almost immediately, I started to realize she was pretty crazy. She would show me really weird videos she had made that were like horror gore cartoons. They weren't that bad, but I definitely was a bit alarmed by them. She showed me that she had multiple scarifications on her arms, which are basically tattoos made of scars. Only about 2 weeks into this, we started dating, and then I went to her house. I will never forget this. Her mom came to me as soon as I walked in and took me into another room and gave me a big speech. Basically, what she said was that she had not spoken to anyone other than her mom, dad, and sister since she was 7, and that I have an opportunity to help her live a normal life. She also said that she is a powerful antipsychotic and that she can be erratic, and that her room is a mess. I felt a bit nervous after this. After this, I went up to her room and went inside. It was a rather large room with black bin bags on the windows, making the room pitch black with the lights off, and there were hundreds of Relentless and Monster cans everywhere. It also smelled pretty bad. I spent about 8 hours there. It was the most intense and strange time in my whole life. Firstly, she told me that she hears voices and they tell her that she is a demon that corrupts people and that I am now corrupted. She said that she now feeds off of me and that if I abandon her, she would lose her ability to speak. She then started crying and told me everything about her life, and what pain she lives in. She showed me all the scarifications she had done and that she had recorded them. She played like 30 seconds of one. It's the most disturbing thing I've ever seen. She showed me a video of her choking herself unconscious, and then she made me do some sort of ritual speech after we had sex, which was very uncomfortable because she was trying to get me to hurt her and strangle her, and when I didn't, she dug her nails into my arm. After this, she drank like 3 monsters in about 20 minutes. She then started talking about suicide, and then she asked me if I wanted to leave. I feel very bad about this because she had basically put all her trust into me and wanted my help, but I couldn't do it. I gave her a long hug and got out of there. It was like 4 a.m. I have never, and I'm sure I will never see crazy on a level anything like that. It was very scary. The fact is, if she were a man, I never would have interacted with her, and I only tried to have anything with her because I found her attractive. But even with that said, this has tortured me for years now. I feel as if I've doomed her to a life of isolation. After this, she wouldn't sit with me, and I don't think she came into college much. I only saw her about 20 more times over the course of 2-ish years, and she never even looked my way. The only contact I've had with her was about a week ago. She sent me a message on Facebook that said, "I wish you could be free from me. You haunt me. I love you." Which made me cry and keeps making me cry. I did feel our souls bond in that short time, but she's crazy. Nothing I can really do, I think. Well, what do you say about the stories behind these secrets? What secrets do you have that you are not ashamed to share? Feel free to dare in the comments. Until we meet again in new videos, friends.